This one's for the real Trekkies. The ones who remember when Star Trek meant something. Alex Kurtzman, you hack. Consider this your send-off. You killed the franchise and we're singing over the grave. Used to be my proud, watch the stars unfold. Bold explorers, logic sharp, stories pure as gold. Then came Kurtzman, Grim Reaper in a suit, turned the Enterprise into a woke-ass reboot. 'Cause in the day that clown sniffed around the set, now it's teen drama trash, the franchise is dead. Greatest sci-fi ever? No, not anymore. You shot all over Roddenberry's core. Oh, Alex Kurtzman, you ruined Star Trek. Woke Trek forever. What a pathetic wreck. Barefoot captains, pajama queens on the bridge, cadets fat and whiny playing high school gigs, DA checklists, virtue signaling lectures, forced gay pandering feelings over vectors. You hate the show, you hate the fans, you hate the dream. Starfleet Academy, more like a bad fever dream. Beat me the hell out of here, Scotty, I'm done. Captain Nalaka, Holly Hunter's barefoot joke, strutting in PJ's no shoes, someone's got a fetish poke. Talks like gravel in her mouth, sits like a smug damn cat, refuses to split a kid from a crook. Starfleet, where's that at? Oh, power to forward shields while getting hit from behind. Technical idiocy shows you got no mind. Women always stronger, smarter, morally supreme. Men bumbling props in your feminist fever dream. Cadets supposed to be elite, fat, dumb, and out of shape, whining about love triangles, homesick tears on tape. Insubordination daily, no discipline in sight. Mouth off to superiors, get a hug, yeah, that's right. Flat as cardboard, one-dimensional D-bots, speed run arcs faster than a warp core plot. Everyone's queer-coded, not representation, just force. Preachy therapeutic speed, empathy circles, of course. Oh, Alex Kurtzman, you ruined Star Trek. Woke Trek forever. What a pathetic wreck. Barefoot captains, pajama queens on the bridge, cadets fat and whiny playing high school gigs, DA checklists, virtue signaling lectures, forced gay pandering feelings over vectors. You Pacing's garbage on tears, forced drama galore, teen soap on Nickelodeon, couldn't be more poor. Viewership tanked, charts dropping like red shirts in a fight. Low scores ain't bombing, fans just saw the light. Discovery Picard, strange new worlds too. Lower decks tried, but you poisoned that crew. Turned hope and exploration into leftist lecture halls. Discipline's oppression, men are useless, women got balls. Over-reliance on Easter eggs, desperate and sloppy. No fresh ideas, just wrecking what's copied. Kurtzman, your secret hideout, king of the con. You don't get Trek, you hate it, and it's gone. Oh, Alex Kurtzman, you ruined Star Trek. Woke Trek forever. What a pathetic wreck. Barefoot captains, pajama queens on the bridge, cadets fat and whining playing high school gigs, DA checklists, virtue signaling lectures, forced gay pandering feelings over vectors. You wrote the epitaph, killed the best franchise alive. Starfield Academy, proof the dream don't survive. Beam me the hell out of here, Scotty. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. So skip this trash, real fans, let it die in the dark. Kurtzman, take your woke coat and shove it where it sparks. Star Trek was bold, it was hope, it was true. Now it's your tombstone. Your
All right, it is that time. And getting everything going here. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth on Starship Adventures. My name is Ian, your humble host here every single night when I can swing it, which is just about every night, to host the Sights and Sounds of Earth, where we literally take a tour around and see what's going on. There is no big breaking news tonight that I'm aware of. If anybody knows of anything, please let me know, as always, because I can't continue to parse news while I'm producing, directing, hosting, and monologuing, and letting the cat in and out. It's just way too much. All right. Had Dairy Queen for dinner again. I gotta quit eating that place. It's gonna make my gallbladder fall out. But I gotta tell you, it's good. They got great little chicken strips. They're cheap. And the burger's a little more expensive, but I get that barbecue burger. It's really good. And so, yeah, not so bad, not so bad. Let's get this up out of the way just a little bit, maybe. Hey, there we go. Hey, now maybe I'll move this back over here a little bit. Hey, there we go. Now I can see everything. All right, welcome in, everybody. Yep, we're glad you're back. It just works. Thank you for coming back. I do appreciate that. Cannon Club, Dispatch, and all my other deplorabus, all my other members out there, and my moderators. Thank you all for being here tonight. The numbers are starting to come up. We've got a bunch of different things tonight. Tonight's not a night where we cover one big thing. Tonight's one of those nights kind of like last night, where I've got literally 10 topics. We're going to see how many we can get through. We had a great show at work tonight. Trey was back, and we did the full 3 hours. It was a great show. We were joking around in one of the hours, and we had each other laughing so hard we couldn't hardly talk. It was hilarious. Anytime I can get him laughing so hard that he can't do radio, that's a W for me. See, one of the things I try to do is get to him to laugh so hard that he can't talk on the radio, because then I have to do it. I always try to keep him laughing as much as I can, and he actually went to Second City and he trained for a season in the improv at Second City. If you guys aren't aware, you can Google it. It's an improv studio that many of the big stars, like a lot of the SNL people, went through there. Improvisational comedy is awesome, and over the years I've learned improv, and him and I play off each other in amazing fashion. And tonight we had a funny segment. I think I'm going to go back and cut it out and put it up. It's going to be good. I know I owe you guys a Zoom meeting, and I haven't forgot that. I'm getting ready to set it up. I have a paid account with Zoom. That's not a problem. It's going to be a 2-hour meeting, but I'm trying to figure out when we need to do it. So I'm going to wait till we get about 50 or so of the regulars in here tonight, and I'm going to probably put up a couple of polls and kind of think. I want you guys to think about this. It needs to be like a 6 to 8 type thing on either Saturday or Sunday. I'm thinking 6 to 8 on Sunday. That's the time I keep coming up with. It's probably going to be best for everybody. I cannot do it before the show because I don't get home till 8:15 sometime. 7:50 to 8:15. And last night I didn't get home till just before the show started. I was delayed again. Tonight I got out at a reasonable time. Rust desk in search. Okay, for remote desktop. All right, let me put that in my show notes because I need that information right there. I've got to get remote desktop hooked up because I can't get this stuff back up online if I'm not sitting here in the studio. And I'm having AC issues. I got wiring I got to do. And so, yeah, let's see here. They all shut down again with this wiring issue. So I went ahead and the only one I put back on was the radio. It actually stayed on through the last one, but all the other ones are on the other circuit. But this is Pal Up Radio, and it's on right now over at Starship After Dark. If you guys haven't checked it out, we play 24/7 radio. We've got about 80 songs over there right now, and I'll be adding. I got 2 more to add, and I'm going to probably make some more custom music in the next few days. Each time I make a new song about what's happening in the news today, it goes over and becomes a song over there. And I got to tell you, some of those songs are catchy. I find myself singing my own music. It's kind of cool. Yes, in the next week or so, we will be on CW6. Yeah. We're not supposed to tell anybody, so don't tell anybody, man. If you're from my work, don't get me in trouble. Anyway, it's not that big a deal, but we're not making it real public yet. But for my small audience here, I think it's okay. But yeah, we're going to be on CW6 for the first 2 hours each night from 5 to 7. And it should be pretty cool. The morning show will also be on CW6 from 6 to 9 a.m. on weekday mornings as well. So it should be pretty cool. And that's going to be on CW6 and simulcast on 92.5 Fox News, which is also simulcast on TuneIn and on our website, 925foxnews.com. And so there's a lot of ways to listen to us. If you're in the local area, you can get us on local TV 46-1 and I believe 46-5. We're on both. One is audio and video. To say our show's out there, it's out there. Plus, we're on our big terrestrial stick on 92.5 FM. That's frequency modulation for you geeks out there. Yeah, so you can get it all different ways. And we're on from 5 to 8 every day. It's a 3-hour show. And Trey and I, it's a fun show. He monologues, and I throw in the funny quips, and we go back and forth, and it's a lot of fun. Tonight, it's the 7 o'clock hour, the last hour. Hour 3, I think it says on the podcast. You can also get our podcast on Spotify and most anywhere podcasts are given away because it's not sold. And you can go just type in Spotify 92.5 Fox News and it will come right up, and you can listen to our previous shows. Kat and I put those in every night. So within 10 minutes of the hour ending, you can go in and listen to it. It's pretty cool. Galaxy Quest, yes. Hey, what's up, Heath? Yeah, hey, man. Yeah, I love throwing in my movie references, and I love Galaxy Quest. It's my 6th favorite Star Trek movie. I know I just lost one of the Trekkers out there, but sorry, I love to make that joke. I think it's a great movie. I do. I think it's a amazing. You know what? It is a respectful spoof, just like Spaceballs was to Star Wars. Nobody hates Spaceballs or the makers of Spaceballs that are Star Wars fans. They love it because it's satire. It's spoof. It's making fun of in a respectful way. And the same thing with Galaxy Quest. It was Star Trek. It was more than Star Trek. It was about the actors in Star Trek, the real actors in Star Trek. That whole scene of the captain with no pants on, passed out in his back room by his pool, that actually happened. But it was the media that caught him anyway. Yeah, we're not on TV till next week. Yeah, things got put off. It happens. The Orville's a great example of, instead of a movie, a TV show that was a spoof on Star Trek. And I got news for you. Trekkies love Orville. A lot of us, like me, are Seth MacFarlane fans to begin with. But all of us, every Trekkie I know loves the Orville. Because it's different enough, and it's the same enough, if that makes sense. I'm just going to leave it there. But yeah, very much. Hey, Bruce, what's up, man? Thank you for being here. Oh, let's see here. Yep. All right, if you haven't subscribed yet, throw one on there. The big purge is over, but yet I'm still down about 250 subs over a month ago. So if you guys haven't subbed yet, throw it on there. If you want hosted content, hit the bell. Also, go over to Starship After Dark, but don't hit the bell over there. Just hit the subscribe button. Over there, we've got live radio that plays 24 hours a day. It's got radar. It's got live views of Washington, D.C., and it's got the top 2 weather alerts that are coming out, plus a weather map. It's got it's really cool. You guys have got to check it out. And that's over on Starship After Dark. That's at Starship After Dark. Something we haven't done in a while is give out our Discord link. If someone has that, and you could put our Starship After Dark link. And I don't have them handy. Normally I have some of them handy here, but I don't. But if anybody has our Discord link and our Starship After Dark link, throw them in for our new friends that we got in tonight, and let's all get connected up. All right. Kitty, stop licking my mouse hand, okay? Thank you. She just starts licking because she says, instead of mousing, why don't you scratch my head? And I'm like, because I need to mouse. And she goes, scratch my head. That's all. She don't care. Yeah, something about cats, they're kind of self-centered. Have you ever noticed? There was a Stargate reference on the planet where they got the beryllium sphere. I'm trying to think what that would be. You may have to help me with that. I could Google it and then act like I know, but I don't. I try not to do that too much. There's our Discord. Thank you, Moorhead. Hey, how's it going out there? Yeah, a Stargate reference on the beryllium sphere planet. Well, I know it's not the shirt off thing because that's a Shatner thing. One of my favorite lines is when they beam back up and he's standing there and he's shirtless and there's shit all over everybody because that thing blew up, remember? And they're standing there, and the best line from Lazarus, he says, from Dr. Lazarus, he looks at him and he goes, "At least you got your shirt off." And that was a big thing because Shatner got his shirt off in every third episode and the rest of the cast didn't. But anyway, hey D-Beard, what's up, man? Welcome in. And there you go. Dispatch just put in the link to Starship After Dark. So thanks, guys, for putting those links in. You guys check those links out. You can check out the music. If you like the music, you can put that other channel on and just leave it on. And it'll play music while you're working on stuff. And it's also a nice desktop for your second screen because it not only shows you the song name, it shows you the waveform of the song and all that bullshit, but it also shows you a shot of Washington, D.C. and a full nation radar that's live with the alerts and everything popping up automatically. It's really cool. I tried to make an interface that's as useful as possible. Oh, is it raining? Where are you? Are you somewhere in Florida? Because it's really not raining everywhere. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, really, there's rain in the north, up here by the Great Lakes. Let's see, Illinois, Indiana, some fairly moderate rain there. Michigan, some rain. Not as much in the upper, but coming through the lower anyway. And then lots of rain over here coming into Canada. That will eventually work its way into Vermont and New York overnight tonight. But that's what's going on in the Northeast. No severe weather. We got one storm chaser out. Brandon Kopik, man, this guy, he's a trooper. But he's out. Maybe we'll get some shots from him later. This is not supposed to be anything other than just rain. It's too warm for snow, I think. Of course, we're getting out of the time to have to talk about snow for a while. You're on the Space Coast. Well, there you go. It's exiting right now. It is exiting off the Space Coast. See, you can always tell where the Space Coast is because it's that little outcropping there. That's where the launch pads are out on that peninsula. And it's also just north of Cocoa Beach. Why do you remember Cocoa Beach? Because that's where Major Nelson lived in I Dream of Jeannie. Come on, you know that. Major Healy and Colonel Nelson, they lived in Cocoa Beach, which is like the bedroom community for the space station, or for the space base. Anyway, it's also just south of Titusville. But yeah, there you go. I'll tell you what, if you're like, a lot of people are like, I want to go to Florida and I want to see something really cool, but I don't like Disney and I don't like these big parks. I feel you, dude. I have a love-hate with them places. I grew up in them. Let me tell you something. NASA. Yeah, Cape Canaveral, dude. You can go there, and they've got a tour you can go on. And they take you out to all the different buildings, and depending on what's going on, you get to go all around and inside and different things. You get to go to the old command center, the new command center, all this different stuff. Yeah, of course. I mean, Artemis is great. I think this... Look, just getting back to the moon helps energize this country in a very patriotic way. I do believe so, Heath, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so... Anyway, if you're ever down here in Florida and you're looking for something to do, look on the... It's called the Space Coast. over there, and you can actually go there, and it's like a little theme park. They've got some like movie type rides and experience type rides. They've got talks that they do, but you can walk in and amongst the rockets. It's really cool. You can actually get your picture taken up inside one of the big rocket bells, and you can walk through. There's a garden of rockets. There's the wall with all the names of all the fallen test pilots and astronauts, and there's just so many things to see there. There's one of the shuttles is there. I want to say it's the Enterprise, which, as you remember, was the first one. Unfortunately, they pushed so hard to get the first one named. It was a test ship. It never actually went to space, which I think they should have pushed for the second one to be named, but there would have been problems with that too. Anyway, let's not worry about that. The point is you can go there and you can walk up inside a space shuttle. At least I could last time I was there. They've got one of the rockets they built to go to the moon that they didn't use is sitting there on brackets in a building, and you can walk underneath it and literally look at every piece of the rocket. You can walk into the like a gallery behind the old control room, and they actually, all the lights move and all the screens and everything show you what it looked like during different stages of the Apollo missions, which is really, really cool. So, I mean, if you're into science and space like I am, this place probably would be more interesting to you than, say, the Magic Kingdom or Epcot, which I like those too. But I'm telling you, this is really cool. Now, if you got the kids along and they like roller coasters, this may be a no-go because they're not going to be happy. But if they're into the space program, as a child, I loved this place. And even my brother kind of liked it, and he wasn't into that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I think it's a really cool place. It's a little expensive, but it's about half what it costs to get into Disney World. And so, there's going to be all kinds of stuff there for you to see. It's like a museum. They've got the movies in the round. They've got, I'm trying to think of the different things they've got. You can sit in there, and they've got like a launch experience. They're always changing it up. So, I don't know exactly what's going to be there, but it's a fairly large facility. I was surprised. They got food courts there with different restaurants, and, it's really cool. You bent your ear backwards. Anyway, cats. Yep, Atlantis, final shuttle. Yep, that's true. Yeah, we're down to not that many that walked on the moon. But the neat thing is, these guys have had to keep those secrets all these years of those UAPs that they saw up there, and now it's almost like now it doesn't matter. They can talk about it now. So I'm actually hoping to hear from some of them. I don't know who's left and what missions and all that. So, no, if you're talking about NASA, it is in over in the Space Coast near Titusville. It's on the Space Coast. It's just put in Cape Canaveral. It has about 5 different names, believe it or not. But Cape Canaveral will get you there. Yeah, it's quite a bit further north than Alligator Alcatraz. I'm a lot further south. I'm down here in Lee County in southwest Florida, just north of Naples. And for me, Alligator Alcatraz is about an hour and 10 or 15 minutes. It's down on East Trail, on East 40, US 41 East, which I know that doesn't sound right because it's an odd number, but 41 comes all the way down the whole country, but when it gets to Naples, it turns dead east and goes down through the Everglades down into Homestead, just north of Homestead near Miami. It's I don't know what it is. Is it a I think it's a Bahringer. It's let's see, what is it? It's a Newer. It's an Ewer shotgun mic, and I have it in short range mode because I can keep it pretty close like this, and it helps to reduce the sound of the air conditioner. Sometime this year, I don't know when, I'm going to flip flop this room, and when I do, it's going to get me away from the air conditioner, and I'm going to be doing some things to dampen that sound. But for right now, I'm using a directional microphone that has noise canceling. We're also looking at doing some processing and gating and stuff, but the problem is you got to get that stuff just right, or it sounds like shit. And you guys listen to me for 2 or 3 hours sometimes. I don't want it to be all weird. Um, yeah, Kennedy Space Center. Like I said, there's so many names. Cape Canaveral. There's so many things over there. Sometimes the bus tour will take you out to Launch Pad 39 Alpha or 39 Bravo. Sometimes they don't take you out anymore to the Apollo 1 site, though, I'm pretty sure. You know, the site where them guys died in Apollo 1 is still there. There's the launch pad's there. They don't use it no more. Um, yeah, this one's not an expensive mic. It was Jake actually gave it to me. He said, "Here, try this. You can have it." And I brought it home, and you guys said it was much better than the. I've been using just a Shure stick mic, and you guys were saying this was better because it's a shotgun. It shoots right in my mouth here, and that way it cancels out a lot of the noise from the air conditioner. Um, well, I do radio. That's what I do for a living. I do 3 hours of radio where I produce and participate on the air. And then I come home and I do 2 hours here every night, sometimes more. I also used to do a lot of reads for commercials. Get up and call in now. I used to even do like spoof movie trailers and stuff. But truth is, I nobody needs me anymore. You want to know why? Because AI does all the voicing now. Here, I'll give you an example. Remember Greta Thunberg? Yeah, we did a spoof, and I voiced it, and I did it like the In a World guy, which is gone now. God bless his soul. Anyway, here we go. I want you guys to hear this. This is Greta Thunberg starring in her new movie.
In a world where one little girl stands in the way of disaster.
No more exploitation of people and nature and the planet. No more exploitation.
Where everyone is the problem. She's the solution.
No more blah, blah, blah. We're sick and tired of it, and we're gonna make the change, whether they like it or not.
She single-handedly plans to save the planet.
This keep on going for too long.
The power of one little girl.
We're not gonna let him get away anymore. We're not.
In this time of disaster, a beacon stands alone.
Because who are we? And what are we gonna do? Climate justice, that's right.
Greta Thunberg stars in Not With My Planet You Don't.
What do we want? What do we want then?
Rated R starts Friday at select locations. Starts Saturday everywhere.
I hate when that happens. I really do. But yeah, anyway, to repeat what I just frickin' said, yeah, everybody don't have to tell me. I got 15 people telling me. Thank you, though, everybody. All right, so anyway, yeah, that's not an AI voice. That was my voice without any AI modifications whatsoever. Okay, so the reason I played that was because I wanted you to hear I can do the different voices. So anyway, I've worked with Trey for a long time. I produced the morning show. I've worked for 15 years for my broadcast company. And I'm retired fire chief. And I did that for nearly 20 years. And I got out. And now I've been doing this for about 15 years. It's crazy. I mean, I started at the fire department when I was 17 years old. So it's been a full life here. I did a lot with I did a lot in the fire service. I did a lot with emergency management and emergency comms and the sheriff's department. I've done a lot of different things in my life, but I've really enjoyed this broadcasting. I have to admit, broadcasting is a thrill. It's not quite that thrill you get when you find the bank robber coming out of the bank. It's not quite that thrill. I mean, that one really goes up your leg. But anyway, I still, after 15 years of producing live radio, I still feel a little nervous going on right at 5 o'clock. When I hear that opener play and I check the board and make sure that we've got returns coming back and that we are in fact locked in and live on the air, there's this little bit of tingle that goes around. And like, ooh, I'm a little nervous. And I like that. It's like still making sure I'm still alive. And I always said if I ever lost that feeling where I just didn't give a shit anymore and I just didn't have that feeling, that little giddy feeling when I'm going on the air, it's probably time to pack it up. Anyway, yes, firefighters have some great tools and toys. You should see my Hux bar. Anyway, yeah, no, radio does not pay worth a shit. Talent makes out okay, but yeah, radio, it don't pay great, but my boss takes good care. I'm not really complaining, though. They do okay. I work for a very large, locally owned, locally operated conglomerate. We have 3 network TV stations. We have 3 or 4 network radio stations, total of 15 radio stations. We play every genre of music there is. We even have a channel called Trump Country. And it's voiced by a guy that sounds just like Donald Trump. And he comes on, he goes, "This next song is a really good song." It's hilarious because the station is completely voiced by the president. And he's like, "I'm playing this song now. Why? Because I'm in charge, you know." And every single thing has to do with, it's all Donald Trump. And he doesn't really get political. It's always just funny stuff, you know. And I think it was a fun idea that they decided to do. We also have the sports station. We have the oldies rock, the classic rock, the older classic rock, the newer contemporary rock, the adult contemporary. You know, it's kind of cool working there. I work with all these DJs and editors and talent and really smart people all the time. And what a great networking gig to work amongst 15 radio stations and all these TV stations, and we're all one big family. There is no, that's my copy machine, we all use all the same stuff. It's all the same building. Everything's the same, and we're all constantly helping each other. It's really cool. Yeah, I live stream every day when I can. Every now and then, my health or my work will intervene, but I live stream pretty much every day, and we do basically news, weather, traffic. I try to go heavier on the science than the politics, but sometimes sometimes there just is a lot of politics, and it is what it is. We do a lot we cover the protests, we cover police actions, we cover just about everything here on the Sights and Sounds of Earth. I broadcast live from my home studio here in Southwest Florida in a little place called North Fort Myers, and in the free state of Florida, home of no income tax. I always have to add that. And I broadcast glass all the way to the internet. I have no copper, all glass. I'm fiber optic all the way to the internet, and I broadcast on YouTube because it's the largest broadcast platform in the world, and we broadcast worldwide. And many of our videos are actually split into multiple languages, so you can listen in other languages, which is pretty cool. WQWK, Lion Country, State College, Pennsylvania. That's cool. That's cool, Sean. I assume your call sign is Foxtrot Mike 8 Papa Ocean. Is that what it is? That's cool. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found us. I'm not sure how many times you've been in, but my memory's not that great anymore. Boy, that thing's going quick, you know? All right, so anyway, there we go. Tonight on the screens right above me here, a little tour around the world. This is the world cam rolling all over the place, and we're checking out scenes all over the country and all over the world. Above that, we've got a beautiful view of liberal decay. Not George Decay, that's something different. Liberal decay is where you've got a city that's in ruin, like San Francisco or Los Angeles or Portland or Minneapolis, where basically the sterno bombs have taken over everything, and you can't walk your kid down the street anymore without stepping on syringes and seeing people all passed out on the side of the road. This camera actually moves around some, and you can see what it's like there in these liberal bastions around the country, places where people on the left are in charge. You know, someone asked me a while back, they sent me a message and they said, you know, Ian, you're a scumbag. I'm used to that. You're a scumbag because you only show skid rows in blue states. Yeah, I only show skid rows in blue states? Are you kidding me? It's because all the skid rows are in blue states. We don't have that problem here, and they don't have it in Texas or Georgia. Matter of fact, most of the Southeast doesn't have this problem. Why are they all in California? Well, the weather's great, and so is the handouts. So that's Skid Row, or as I call it, liberal decay. That's what it looks like when your city's failing. Do you know right now 50% of downtown San Francisco is vacant? It's unoccupied. Residences, taxpayers, which are those residences above the businesses themselves, everything, 50% of downtown is gone. It's closed. Why? Because it's hard to sell shit when you got sterno bums sleeping right in front of your store. Yeah, Kensington, that's nuts. Yeah, there's several others. There's a few more of these LA ones. Sometimes there's one in Minneapolis, and sometimes you can get them out of San Francisco. But these Skid Row ones here are always up. And what you'll see is groups coming by and feeding these people. They eat more than you do, trust me. You ever wonder why all the homeless people are fat? Yeah, it's because over there the government feeds them, the Christians feed them, the non-seculars feed them, 501c3s and C4s feed them. Yeah. I got cats in the neighborhood that do the same thing. They don't have a home, but they come by here every day and I feed them. And then they go down the street. I love when I'm talking to my neighbor from 3 doors down and I say, yeah, I'm feeding this deep orange cat now. She goes, yeah, he comes here too. And I said, yeah, and I'm feeding this other one that has white feet and is gray. Yeah, I've been feeding that one for a couple years. And I'm like, we're all feeding the same 6 cats. Look, John Fetterman is my favorite Democrat right now. As a matter of fact, I wish he would switch parties. I hate to say it because it's mean, but I think the stroke did him good. I mean, he gets it now. I hate to say this, but he was kind of a dumbass before. And then he has this stroke and he starts like really getting into his job and he starts reading and understanding things and he's getting the right help and the right technology and now he's almost fully recovered and he's doing great and he's moving away from all this craziness on the left. He realizes that the left has gone completely crazy. And while he was recovering from his problem, he realized that his party was not recovering from their problem. Go John Fetterman. And we still got Oz doing good work in the federal government, so that whole thing was kind of a win-win for the nation, I think. The socialist Seattle mayor, no, I haven't heard that yet. No, I don't. It's okay. I got enough to do. Listen. I've been doing philanthropy my whole life. I ran 9 annual programs at my fire station. The Christmas program, the Thanksgiving program, the Easter program, the Halloween program. Do I need to go on? I raised $50,000-$60,000 a year for my volunteer fire station. Myself and my guys working our asses off with me coordinating. And then I'd raise another $10,000 a year for Jerry and his kids. Jerry Lewis, MDA, muscular dystrophy, and we were very big. My station was very big into philanthropy, and I did a lot of it. And I spent a lot of my life doing philanthropy. But I've reached a point now where I hardly have enough energy to try to get done what I'm trying to get done. And money's become tighter over the years. So those things have pushed me away from philanthropy. But I'm not saying I won't get back into it once I can and have the means. We used to give 50 to 100 kids Christmas presents, Christmas trees, every year. Every year. Christmas Eve, in the morning, the fire truck would come through. And it would give anybody that didn't have a Christmas tree in these poor neighborhoods, we'd give them a Christmas tree, 2 boxes of bulbs, 2 strings of Christmas lights, and an extension cord. Yeah. And we would give them out to all the people. And then we would come back a while later and we'd give them their food. We had all kinds of food. We had turkeys. We had different things. If they had the means to cook the turkey, we'd give them a turkey. If not, we had alternatives, different things. And then right after dark, we would come pulling into that place. It was just a huge, really poor, depressed area. And we would come pulling into there with 3 engines and 2 service trucks. And we would come pulling in there. And Santa Claus, his name was Goldenberg. His code name on the air was Hanukkah Harry. He was actually a Jewish guy. He loved playing Santa Claus. And he would show up and we would give all these kids gifts. They'd all get 2 or 3 gifts. We had them all marked by age. The wrapping paper, the color of the paper told you the sex. And it had a big number written on one side so you could see what age bracket it was in. We had this down to a science. I used to love doing this kind of stuff. We used to do turkeys at Thanksgiving. We used to give out 100 turkeys on Thanksgiving. We used to wrap 1,000 gifts in the 3 days before Christmas. I mean, it was crazy the stuff we did at my fire station. And then the big union came in. I fought it as long as I could. I finally had to leave. I left. And The year after I left, they came to the union. The union came in, and the department gave up every single philanthropy effort that department did over the years. Everything. The whole thing started with one kid one year. Myself and Tom went down and bought him a remote control truck at Radio Shack. And we brought it to him on Christmas Eve in the fire truck, and we gave him a ride in the fire truck. And ever since that night, everything had just, over the next 12 years, every holiday, everything. For Halloween, we did a fundraiser. We built a haunted house out of our entire firehouse using the training room and the bays and everything. And everybody would come. We were listed in the paper as one of the top 3 every year. Big, huge haunted walk, chainsaws with no chains on them, strobe lights that we took off of old trucks hanging from the ceiling. You could just imagine what it was like. Smoke machines. Yeah, smoke machines. Yeah, let me tell you something. No one does Halloween like the fire department, okay? And air machines, compressed air. We had compressed air nozzles all around. And we used to raise all kinds of money for our department so we could buy pagers and helmets for the volunteers. I was paid. We had 10 paid guys. We had all our stuff, but we had to raise the money so the volunteers would have equipment too. The department spent so much a year as well, but we did a lot of it with volunteer money, with money that we raised. And all the paid guys helped the volunteers raise their money. So it was a good relationship. Moose Haven Retirement Home. I've never heard of it. I know Moore Haven is over by the lake. That's about an hour and 20 minutes from me. But I don't know. I don't know where. I haven't heard of that one. That doesn't mean it's here. I don't know the names of most of the retirement places here. And by the way, there's thousands of them. WZYQ, Cash for Kids. Yeah, my station at Christmas, we do 10,000 for the troops. And every year we get over 50,000 handwritten on cards, letters that we send to the troops. And we've got a special group with the hospital here that helps us out, and they pay for the shipping and everything to ship them over. And then there's a nonprofit group with the military that gets them and gives them out to all the different platoons. And they go to all the platoons that have someone from our area in the platoon, and the whole platoon gets Christmas cards from Fort Myers. It's so cool. And yeah, we do that every year, and it's always 10,000 for the troops. We've gotten as many as I think 80,000 before. It's absolutely nuts. And we don't just give them to locals, but we try to concentrate on any group that has one of our locals in it gets them. They all get them. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I've never heard of it, the Moose Haven. Brandy is fired up and getting attacked by Democrat media. Yeah, that's a freaking mess too. I cannot believe what our country's devolving into, guys. It's crazy. I really don't want to get too much into the negative politics tonight. Let's let me go through some of the stories I had for you tonight. I want to start with this. I've been going through I'm still going through these files, man. It is difficult. But right now, I'm looking at what's trending right now. You know, one of the biggest ones, because there's sound that came with it, is the Apollo 17 lunar anomalies from 1972. Astronauts reported bright, tumbling, jagged, rectangular fragments drifting past the spacecraft window. Described the scenes as looking like the 4th of July outside the window. Surface photos show 3 small dots in a triangle formation in the lunar sky. Multiple crew members discussed the objects in real time with mission control, and that audio is being heard for the first time. One of the clearest visual audio records from the moon missions. Objects appeared to be physical and maneuvering independently. They were literally watching these guys. The second one that's trending number 2 right now is the Nazi saucer craft claim. Black Forest, Austria, 1944. FBI documents detail a tip from informant Paul Perel, claiming Nazis built a 21-foot diameter radio-controlled saucer-shaped craft. The craft allegedly had a revolving outer section and stationary center dome. They were practicing with gyroscopics, is what it was. If you start spinning multiple discs, you can start to create a weightless environment or different things like that because of the spinning discs and the forces involved. And I think that might be what they were trying to accomplish, or were they reverse engineering something? Who knows? Either way, not good. This guy claimed he personally photographed it at the flight center in the hangar. Xerox copies of the alleged negatives were included in the release. Engineer named. There's an engineer his name was Kruer, who reportedly designed the craft. The next one that comes up, number 3, that is finding the most interest right now, is the Apollo 12 mission anomalies from 1969. Previously unreleased photos from the lunar surface show unidentified bright objects and linear anomalies. Objects appear in multiple frames during lunar operations. Part of NASA's contribution to the disclosure was these mission files from Apollo 12. FBI historical disc, the flying disc files, 1947 to 1968. This is a whole batch of newly declassified FBI files covering early flying disc reports across the U.S. Includes accounts from sensitive sites like Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Contains technical analysis of possible advanced propulsion. Also, number 5, FBI's modern UAP submissions, and these were 8 different images showing black dots like UAPs appearing alongside known U.S. military aircraft, including examples from New Year's Eve 1999, and also some more recent cases as well. Number 6, Buzz Aldrin. Apollo 11 light source report. If you guys remember, Buzz Aldrin, as he got older, came out and said they saw UFOs while they were up there. They saw some other intelligence at work up there, and sure enough, they silenced him, told him to shut up. But now we know that to be true. It happened. Aldrin reported seeing a sizable object and a fairly bright light source near the lunar surface. The crew felt it could have been a laser or an artificial light of some kind. Number 7 on the list, a bogey sighting. Gemini 7 in 1965 reported a bogey. Astronaut Frank Borman and Jim Lovell reported a bogey and hundreds of little particles. Handwritten notations label it as a possible UFO, and that was never explained. The football-shaped object in 2022 in the East China Sea takes up position number 8 on our list tonight. Military recorded a football-shaped UAP with unusual movements in the East China Sea, and then the object disappeared. The Aegean Sea Transmedium UAP 2023. Object, this is number 9, object flying just above the ocean's surface. made a sharp 90-degree turn several times, and very sharp turns at slower speeds. And then number 10 was Greece, diamond-shaped UAP in 2024 in Greece. Object was moving at 434 knots, visible only on one bandwidth of light, and that was short-wave infrared. Other notable incidents include the Iraq UAP sightings in 22, Syria multiple glare incident in 24, the United Arab Emirates military UAP 2023 and 2024, high altitude tumbling fragments, various flights, bright tumbling objects reported by several pilots, Persian Gulf transmedium objects 2020, objects moving between air and sea at high speeds, African airspace UAP in 2025, recent military encounter, super hot orb helicopter incident 2025. There was an extremely hot object that was only being picked up on one bandwidth, and this time it was thermal, right next to one of our helicopters. Global black dot fleet sightings 23 to 25, multiple orbs appearing together, moving together. Oak Ridge, Tennessee, historical sightings, 1950. Lots of sightings over a sensitive nuclear site. 47 to 50, flying disc wave reported, early post-World War II wave. Operation Paperclip, Nazi technology crossover, links to advanced German programs. These are all papers that you can read, guys. You just Google, go back on the video, listen to what I say, Google it, you'll be able to find information on it. And of course, the Gimbal Lake product objects in the Middle East, and the unresolved high-speed oceanic UAPs, transmedium objects moving at extreme speeds. Transmedium means from water to air, from air to space. That's a transmedium. It's transitioning from one flight medium to another. All right, I'm going to take a minute to read the chat room here. Quit licking my mouse. I said quit licking my mouse hand. Come on, I'm going to have to move you back. I can't. Little sandpaper tongue. Yes, I played last night. I played for over an hour a loop of all the different videos up here in the upper left corner, and the night before that we played several select ones. We will be playing additional ones in the future. I don't have anything queued up right this minute. Let's see here. Yes, businesses and rich people and business owners are fleeing Washington, they're fleeing Oregon, and they're definitely fleeing Douche Newsom's state of California, the state of disarray. And of course, Minnesota is bleeding. New York and New Jersey are bleeding. Illinois is bleeding. And Florida is just picking them up left and right. We've got rich people moving here from all over the country. They're coming here to retire. They're coming here to spend all that wealth that they made somewhere else. Yeah, Minnesota, I don't know what happened. I mean, I know that governor of yours he's a douche. I mean, douche, he's just Tampon Tim. I mean, give me a break. It is good though. I know that we're sending Trumpons up there. The new Trump and all tampons for use in men's rooms up there, because for some reason they need them in men's rooms up there. I don't know why. Pet cats are here. Here's proof of life right here. Say something so they know you're alive. Say something. Yep, Starbucks moved to Tennessee. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so that's what that is, and we're going to continue to every day that I come on, we will do something with these files, and we're going to keep going through them. Some of them, I'm telling you, they're hard to read, they're hard to do. People are going through them with, they're going through all these files right now, and they're using AI to parse it and all, and good lists are starting to come out. So, yeah, everybody moves to Florida eventually because you know what? You get to keep the most of your money here. We have no state income tax. Whatever money you get, what if the federal government does not charge your retirement, the state doesn't either. You get to keep it all. I know that's crazy, isn't it? Well, Moorhead, I get it. Trust me, I do. I can't stand the heat here. It was so bad today. This was the hottest day of the year so far today. We were at 94, 96 today. Very, very hot. High humidity. And it is just terrible. That's why I plan to move to the mountains. You guys know I got friends in Alabama. I got my cabin that I own in the mountains plus this property here. So I have 3 bases of operation, but I can't wait to get and spend most of the summer up in the mountains. And then we'll see. I may spend part of the winter down here. Florida's a big state, and it's true, but I will tell you, you can't get away from the tropics in Florida. Even the panhandle of Florida can get very tropical for a while. It's not quite as bad as down here, but... Yep. All right, I'm going to put up something real quick here. All right, guys, there's a quick poll. The problem I have is with my dispatch, my work schedule. I almost said my dispatch schedule. My work schedule at the radio station, which is from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock, 5 days a week, plus this schedule from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 7 nights a week, it leaves very little time to do a 2-hour Zoom meeting where I can get everybody in. And so I'm trying to figure out what time would be best. There's very few times. We could do it mid-afternoon on Sunday, late day on Sunday. I don't know. I just don't know what to do. I can't do Thursday evening because I'm at work until 7. I've got a 50-minute drive home, and I go on at 9. So that's what I mean. It can't be during the week. It just, unless we do it Tuesday morning or something, I could do 2 or 3 hours Tuesday morning. But that doesn't help a lot of people. I try not to ever do anything during business hours. Yeah, New York City charges almost 20% more taxes overall than we do. I just renewed my driver's license for 8 years. It was $50. Oh, spicy peaches. Yeah, he's been shut down quite a bit, but he's still screwing things up quite good there, old comrade Mamdani. Yeah, New York loves their taxes, man. They really do. See, most of you are voting for Saturday at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I mean, that's doable. I could do 2 of them. I could do one Saturday from 6 to 8 and one on Sunday from 6 to 8. I don't know. I know Reba re-sung it later, but I don't know who sung it before that. Was it Vicki Lawrence from Carol Burnett Show? Wasn't that Vicki Lawrence? Just go to the Play Store and type Zoom. It'll come right up. Trust me. And yeah, you can do the Zoom on your phone. You can do the Zoom on a computer. You can do the Zoom on a tablet. You can do the Zoom almost anywhere. I think some TVs even you can do it now. Yep, that is her. Okay. She was great on Carol Burnett. I love those people on that show. They were all so good. Yeah, look what it costs to get a taxi medallion and what you have to buy it from somebody for and all that. Yeah, that's just ridiculousness. That's just stupid. The whole taxi medallion system in New York it's oppression of business. It's terrible. Yep, it's insane. It absolutely is. All right, guys. Well, 6 to 8 p.m. on Saturday night comes up as being the best night. So I'll keep that in mind. I do appreciate you guys participating in the poll. Anybody want to get their last minute votes in there? I thought Sunday 6 to 8 would be the big one, and it's not. So that shows you what I know. All right, so Saturday 6p to 8p. That's the one we're going to focus on. And I'm going to get that done here in the next week or two. I'll get that out. I just got to figure out how I email all you guys and stuff like that. Yeah, you can do an audio call into Zoom. I think I can still allow that option, and I will. Um, yeah, I'm telling you guys, the best way to do Zoom is on a computer with a camera and a microphone. But if you don't have that, any phone will work. And you can even put it in a bracket or whatever so that it stays there. But yeah, it'll be fun. You guys do not have to turn your camera on, but I ask that you do. I'd like to meet everybody. What just happened? I don't even know what just happened. All right, Pickled Bird just sent a something. It says turn it up. I love that. I don't know how that happened or what. I'm sorry, guys. I've been doing this a while, but there's still things. Sometimes things happen that haven't happened yet. You know, I've done 1,400 shows and I'm still learning on here. Yeah, a high five. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. Good old Bukkake. Well, we're glad you made it tonight for sure. And Pickled Bird, we're certainly glad you're here as well. And Sea Hag, I see the name switched back there again. Yes, it's for members, but I'm trying to figure out a way to get it to all of my moderators as well. Because if you're a moderator and you come in regularly and you help me moderate, then even if you're not a member, I'm going to let you come anyway because I want you to be there. What we're going to do, we're going to spend about half the time talking about the channel and what you guys want to do, how we should do it, what kind of format should we be looking at, you know, what can we change, what can we make better. I think these are important things to do. And then I want to spend some time just getting to know everybody and listening to you guys for a change. Yeah, no dick pics in the Zoom. Boobs are okay, but you know, no dick pics. Within 2 weeks, I'm down to just figuring out how to send it out to you guys. The Batwing, there you go. Yeah, no ducks, no duck pics. So yeah, within 2 weeks, let me see if we can. I don't want to do it this weekend. What I'll probably do is next weekend I'll schedule this, and we'll get a good 10 days or so notice, and I'll make sure that everybody has the link. I can set the meeting up literally 10 or 12 days ahead of time and send you a link for that meeting that you can just hold on to, and then we'll be good to go. Yeah, it's no big deal. This is like a Zoom meeting for members and people that have been here a long time. But anybody's welcome if you're a member. It's only $1.99 a month to be a member. It's really cheap. I'm like the cheapest asshole on the internet. There you go. No commies. Yeah, no commies in the chat room or in the Zoom meeting. That's the last thing we want is a bunch of commies. No socialists either. Kind of the same thing. All right, so let's go through. I got a couple more things here I want to get through before we run out of time. Let me do a quick check and make sure we haven't missed anything big coming in. Ugh. All right, let's talk about this. A Washington manufacturer, Washington State manufacturer, leaving the state after 48 years of business, citing high crime rates, high taxes, and the terrible political climate. John Bodwell says his insurance went up 20% and his power bill nearly doubled in a single month. A Washington manufacturer leaving the state. He's been there 5 decades. John Bonwell, whose family founded Delta Camshaft in 1977, said he has been forced to live inside his business because the cost of operating in Washington has become too damn high. A majority of it is the constant battle with the city over the graffiti and the crime. He says also there's a massive tax increase again. Everything is increasing. Bodwell told Fox News Digital in an interview on Tuesday. The cost of power, the cost of insurance, everything is increasing by large increments. It's not like 1 or 2%. It's like my insurance went up 20%. My power bill is doubling. My claim is supposed to be going up. The claim is supposed to be going up another 13%, but just last month it almost doubled. Delta Camshaft manufactures and repairs camshafts, which control how an engine takes in air and fuel and expels it. Yeah, okay. On its website, the company says that it's not closing, but that our plan is to relocate the business and continue to serve our customers that we've served for years to come. Because crime is running rampant, my insurance policy on the building has skyrocketed. You know, quite a substantial amount in the past 3 to 5 years. And then officers that I do speak with about the graffiti and stuff like that, they say that it takes longer for them to write the report than it does if they just arrest a person. Adding that the criminals basically have more protective rights than the cops do, and also more than the building owners have. According to the FBI crime report in 2024, released in August, Seattle was ranked 4th worst out of the 30 largest American cities for total crime. Bodwell said his move out of Washington state might cost him upwards of $100,000, but that he believes he will be able to make up that money once he's moved into a good business climate. A few years ago, I should have sold it. I should have sold the building when the people were buying and moving into the town of Tacoma. He said, he told Washington Digital. Now he's stuck with a building that nobody wants because nobody's moving into the area. In March, Washington state Democrats passed the millionaire tax, which Democrat Governor Bob Ferguson signed on March 30th. They're idiots. It's the state's first ever income tax pushed by progressives and opposed by conservatives. If I was in my younger years, he said he would run for office. I would go into politics to stop what's occurring now, he said. Unfortunately, I'm 56 and some very bad issues right now with my health that won't allow me. I trust me, I get it. I would love to do more, but as you get older, your health only lets you do so much. But he definitely says, I wish I could go back and get involved in politics to stop some of this bullshit. All right, anyway, that's the story there. Another business has been going on for almost 5 decades now, building and repairing camshafts in Washington State, moving out. And these states like Washington State, and now New York's talking about doing it. California's trying to do it. It's a wealth tax, a tax on the wealthy. You're literally running off the people you need most, and then you're backfilling with the people that you need least. Non-tax paying illegal foreigners. Yeah, that's always the problem. If you follow the rules and pay your bills and everything else, you're the one the government will come mess with. You know, it's kind of weird how that works. I'm to the point now where I don't even think I want to go to California anymore. There you go, another idiot in Nashville, Tennessee. There you go. Oh, high tax Freddy there. Douche. These people are going to learn when you raise property taxes on businesses and when you raise all the taxes that has to do with their business and the electric taxes and the gas taxes, and pretty soon it gets to the point where these people can't even run a business anymore. And that's why 50% of the businesses in San Francisco, in the city, San Francisco, have closed down and moved outside the city somewhere else. Or they've just closed down. Yes, it takes a virtuous population. That's the problem. Our population now, they don't have virtues. They don't have couth, most of them. They don't have the drive to go do things. They don't have the entrepreneurial spirit. They don't have the philanthropic feelings that you get when you help somebody for nothing. They don't have any of these things that used to drive people in the past. All that drives them now is free shit. That's it. Snap and WIC and all this other bullshit, it's government control, guys. When you're on the government tit, you're under the government control. It's that simple. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a way to get closer to socialism, sure, absolutely. And Sean, that's exactly what they did, buddy. They packed that shit up and they moved out. Yep, nothing is free. Thing is they get it, but you have to pay for it. It's not free, but someone else pays for it for them. Yep. Yeah, when I say free, I mean someone else has to pay. That's pretty much what that means. Make your beer run. I won't talk about anything too important. So yeah, 48 years making camshafts, and they are out of here. All right, here we go. Back to Tampon Timland. Do we still have our Minnesota folks in here? Here we go. $1 million SNAP food stamp fraud scheme in Walt's backyard sparks the latest round of outrage. Authorities say Abdida Mohammed's plan involved a high degree of sophistication and occurred over a lengthy period of time. Authorities in Minnesota have filed criminal charges against a man accused of a food stamp fraud scheme that defrauded taxpayers out of over $1 million. This is one foreigner. One foreigner has cost us $1 million. $1 million. Yes. Abadish Wabadhibadid Mohammed, the owner of Minnesota Food Grocery LLC, allegedly used EBT cards registered to others to purchase items at Sam's Club and Costco in 2021. Then he would turn around and resell the items in his store. This according to Fox 9 Minneapolis reporting. Authorities in Hennepin County say they observed Mohammed making purchases and followed him back to the store with the goods. Surveillance footage and GPS data backed this up, while investigators noted that many of the EBT cardholders were either out of the country or say they never shopped at his store before. SNAP, the federal program allegedly abused by Mohammed, provides food assistance to low-income households through EBT cards that function like food credit cards. Mohammed received $1,141 in EBT payments, according to the complaint, which added that the plan involved a high degree of sophistication or planning or occurred over a lengthy period of time. He faces 20 years in prison or a $100,000 fine. Minneapolis didn't become America's. Now, when they say it was 1,141, that was monthly for like the last 5 years. So that's where all that money comes up. Minneapolis didn't become America's fraud capital by accident. The Dalia Al-Qadialia, a Republican running for Congress. Is anybody just called Mike Johnson anymore? Running for Congress in Minnesota's 5th Congressional District against Representative Ilhan Omar, dumbass Minnesota, told Fox News Digital. It was earned. This week, it's a grocer charged with running up $1.1 million in charges on other people's EBT cards. Next week, it will be something else. But the bill always lands on the Minnesotians who actually pay the taxes. Much of this comes out of your tax money in the state of Minnesota, and much of it comes out of federal tax money, which means I'm paying for it too. Aquedi said, the families tell her affordability is what keeps them up at night, and the cruel joke is that the money is here to really make a difference for people, but it's been squandered. It sure has. It's just aligning. It's just lining the wrong pockets and paying for luxury cars and houses on the other side of the world. The fraudsters are only half the story. The other half are the people administrating these programs, from the front lines all the way up to Ilhan Omar's attorney, and all the way up to the state attorney general Keith Ellison, and also Governor Tampon Tim Walz. There has been talk about ending fraud in Minnesota for years. I'm going to Washington to actually do it. Good luck, brother. Bring a blowtorch, okay? I don't, my God, the rats are going to run. Two Republican lawmakers in Minnesota who spoke to Fox News Digital echoed a similar sentiment, including State Senator Mark Corian, and a Republican who said the situation is yet another example of why Minnesota is the target number for so many fraudsters, because you could literally you could get anything done there. They didn't check anything, they didn't do anything, they didn't audit anything. Those dummy-crats there in Minnesota it was like throwing candy out from a parade float. Okay, they were just throwing it out, man. And it's just amazing. The sheer volume of welfare programs, combined with the inability of the state agencies to detect obvious fraud, is alarming. Once again, it was a private retailer, not the state, that uncovered this fraud scheme. I don't know if you guys noticed this. They never catch any of their own wrongdoing. All that last Somali fraud and all that bullshit, yeah. Nick Shirley found all that. A YouTube activist, a YouTube journalist, citizen journalist. He found all that. And he reported on it. Now he's found a bunch more out in Douche Newsom land, out in Californication. And we're going to see how that goes. And now this time, it was actually businesses that saw this happening and blew the whistle. The government never seems to be the one that actually catches people doing something wrong. How's that even possible? I don't understand that. I mean, you would think the government would be the one that would catch this stuff happening, but it's not. Other people have to report it to them. It's because they know it's going on and they don't care. The sheer volume of these welfare programs, combined with the inability of the state agencies to detect obvious fraud, is alarming, and it should be alarming. Once again, it was a private retailer, not the state, that uncovered the fraud scheme. I just wanted to read that again. People who come here to steal from hardworking Minnesota taxpayers deserve serious consequences when they get caught. If they get caught, Minnesota State Senator Michael Holstrom, a Republican, reacted to the news by telling Fox News Digital, "This may be the laziest one yet." We had this guy, Abdi Mohammed, and he named his scam company Minnesota Food Grocery LLC. They aren't even trying because they have been conditioned to believe that there's no consequences, that in these liberal states they'll never investigate them, they'll never come after you, they'll never audit you, just do what you want, collect the money, send it back to freaking Somalia or Haiti or wherever. Since its inception, SNAP has helped our most valuable citizens afford the essentials and nutritious food that they need. This, according to Rollins and Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., wrote in a Fox News op-ed back in March. At least that is what the program is supposed to do. Over time, however, SNAP has been taken advantage of so much and has allowed so many to game the system and leaving millions of vulnerable Americans without healthy foods and nutrient-dense food options. Why couldn't we just say good food, you know? Anyway. Yeah, but guys, I want you to think about something. Luckily we all showed up at the polls, and luckily there was a red wave and the blue wall crumbled on election night. Thank God. Because literally the dumbass Kamala Harris, who's never had a deep thought in her life, and this amazing moron Tampon Tim almost were the dynamic duo running this country. Could you imagine 4 more years? After Joe Biden's 4-year disaster, 4 more years under Kamala, I've never had a deep thought in my life, Harris, and Tampon Tim Walz. My God, I don't know if I can handle that, guys. I even thinking about it, just.
Okay. How do you?
Stage, but
Yeah.
no. That he is entitled to his opinion.
The country and
How do you?
Stage, but
Yeah.
no.
How do you?
No.
You guys remember how close we were? I want you to think about it.
How do you?
This is how close we were.
Stage,
We were this close
no.
to this being the president of the United States and Tampon Tim Walz being her vice president.
Yeah.
No.
I want you to think about it. It could have happened.
We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
That's right. That's right. What we say is true is more important than what's actually true. No, I know, Moorhead, but it still took Nick Shirley to do it. Look, if they knew about all that, which I think they did before Nick Shirley went out there, then shame on them yet again. Yes. Craziness, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So anytime you guys want to know what it was like, to have her as president, you just let me know, and I'll press the button again. You just let me know, all right? Because it's important to remember how bad it was, and all the drugs that she was on.
We all sat and watched the Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I mean, she was just on some pretty bad stuff. All right, anyway. The more you know. All right, next thing. Dali ship operator, foreign employee charged in Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. Remember that collapse that happened like 109 years ago? Remember he sang the Star Spangled Banner and then the bridge collapsed? Anyway, yeah, okay, that's a joke. Just off my ass. Anyway, it's been that long. It seems like it's been 100 years. It hasn't been quite that long. But remember it was the Dali ship. It went dead. Remember that? The generators went out, and it lost its thrusters and ability to steer. And once that happened, it floated right into the Key Bridge and took it out. We actually reported on that live that morning when I got up and saw it happen. We went live, but it's been a while. Synergy Marine and Technical Superintendent Radkahasharkaharian Katahakra Nar faces conspiracy and obstruction charges. Federal officials announced Tuesday these criminal charges have been brought against this guy. He's a Singaporean operator and an employee of the container ship that downed Baltimore's famous Francis Scott Key Bridge more than 2 years ago. The indictment filed on April 8th names Synergy Marine Pte Ltd, based in Singapore, Synergy Maritime Pte Ltd, based in India, and Technical Superintendent, I'm not going to say his name again, an Indian national, as defendants in the case. Both companies and NAIR are charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States, willfully failing to immediately inform the U.S. Coast Guard of a known hazardous condition, obstruction of an agency proceeding, and false statements. Federal officials allege the company improperly altered flushing pumps on the Dali container ship to supply fuel to two of the ship's generators, ultimately causing a second blackout after the ship lost power, initially due to a loose wire. The indictment alleges that if the Dali had been using the proper fuel supply pumps, then the vessel would have regained power in time to safely navigate under the Key Bridge, according to U.S. Attorney Kelly Hayes said in a press conference earlier. The utilization of such flushing pumps is considered a violation of international law, with authorities alleging that companies' operators, including NAIR, knew about the improper use of the flushing pumps and took the risk. The indictment further alleged that after the crash, NAIR falsely told the National Transportation Safety Board that he was unaware that the Dali was using the flushing pump, and later they determined, in fact, he did know that they were doing that. They found the pumps were being used like that on 3 separate ships. In a statement, Synergy Marine Group condemned the charges while asserting investigators' findings that the accident was inevitable due to a loose wire. DOJ is criminalizing a tragic accident, according to the company. The allegations in the indictment are baseless and have nothing to do with the Dali's allision with the Francis Scott Key Bridge. A Synergy Marine Group spokesman said in a statement to Fox News Digital. So there you go, guys. That's what's going on. We're 2 years in, and they still, I think they finally got all the old bridge removed. I don't know. Let's see if it says here. Maryland officials estimate the cost of replacing the bridge at $4.3 billion, and as much as $5.2 billion. That means it'll be $6 billion. To replace the bridge, which is set to reopen in late 2030. Late 2030. That is over 4 years from now. That means it's going to be 6 years. That bridge will be out for over 6 years. Fox News Digital reached out to the Department of Justice and an attorney representing the victim's family, and of course they would not return comment. Does anyone ever comment? Why do we bother reaching out? No one ever speaks to the freaking media anyway. Okay, so there's a new AI robot that changes your tire. Okay, this is pretty cool. ATI's Smart Bay uses physical AI to change tires, balance wheels, and inspect vehicles with minimum human help. They actually change the tire while the rim is still attached to the car. Tire shops are not exactly known for cutting-edge technology, but you pull in, hand over your keys, and hope the wait does not take over the rest of your day. Automated Tire Inc. wants to change that. The Boston-based robotics company has unveiled SmartBay, an AI-powered robotic tire changing platform built for dealerships, tire shops, and service centers. The system handles tire changing, wheel balancing, and vehicle inspections with very minimal human interaction. Is there a video here? I don't think so. No. I'm gonna tell you that this is a long article. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but it changes the tires without removing the wheels, which I think is very cool. Why they need these things? What would be the number one reason you would want these? Of course, everybody's gonna say because it saves you money. You don't have to hire humans. Well, that's true, but actually, I think the number one reason is that 50 people lose their head in tire shops every year. I mean, we would save lives with these things. Think about it. All the guy does now is pull the car up on the thing and just supervise. All it takes is someone calling in sick and this and that. Next thing you know, you're behind so many cars, and this would fix that. One technician can manage and service up to 3 SmartBay equipped service bays at once. ATI also designed SmartBay to fit inside the standard 12-foot service bay that most shops are already using. So shops do not need oversized lanes or major infrastructure changes to buildings. SmartBay has a deal with whatever rolls onto the service bay that day. Every vehicle that comes into the service bay is different. Even within a single model line, those combinations multiply quickly. Road grime adds another layer of difficulty. Vehicles may arrive covered in mud, snow, road salt, brake dust, or rain, and the system still has to identify what is working on and what's safe. They said SmartBay handles all of this with a self-learning AI layer that adapts to real time and hundreds of data points per vehicle. That approach takes the kind of judgment technicians build over years and turns it into a repeatable system that can keep learning over time. It will speed up the changing of tires. A single technician can run 2 or 3 SmartBays in parallel, processing roughly 24 tires an hour. These things can change 24 tires an hour with 3 bays. A human is good for about, compared to 4 tires in 75 minutes. I've known people that would do it faster than that, but still. When you got to pull the old one off, pull the old tire off the rim, put the new tire on the rim, then you got to balance it, then you got to put it back on the car, then you got to go to the next one. You got to jack up this, jack up that, or use the whole lift, whatever. It takes an hour or so. But I think I've seen people do it in less time than that. Is this going to replace the humans changing tires? No. The jobs will evolve. You will get one technician that now runs 2 or 3 of these SmartBays instead of being an actual hands-on tire changer. And every now and then there'll be a tire he has to change manually because something's messed up with it, or there'll be something wrong here or there. And he'll also need to be trained and paid to be able to work on the system and get it working and feed the system what it needs, the tires and things like that. So there'll always be jobs there, but this is going to make it better. Look, the safest thing is to not ever have to take it off the car. Put the tire on. This thing checks the new tire to make sure that it's perfect. It spins the tire and laser checks to make sure there's no anomalies or blemishes. This actually is safer than having a guy put your tire on, because everything is tightened just to the perfect amount. Everything is put on just in the right amount, with just the right amount of tension, just the right amount of pressure, torque, and force. I can see this being a better option in the very near future. What this thing offers also is consistency. Every time you go there, every time you get your tires done, it will do the same thing again every time. And everything will always be done exactly the same way. Everything will always be tightened up to exactly the same specifications. Consistency is one of the things that's really good about this whole thing. They're finding that EVs are eating through tires 40% faster than gasoline-powered vehicles because of the weight. Because they're putting the same tires on EVs as they're putting on gas vehicles, but they weigh hundreds of pounds more. And so they're seeing that you're not, if you buy a 60,000 mile tire, it's only good for 40,000 miles on an EV. So it's just something else you got to consider when you decide to go electric. You're going to be driving a heavier car, a car that doesn't like to stop on wet roads, a car that has a lot more inertia behind it when you're moving. They actually make sockets in 0.5 millimeters. That's good for a tire shop to have. So when you get one starting to strip out, you can probably still get it. Yeah, but Sean, that's what's neat about this. It learns. And once it's going to be programmed with how to deal with that already. And then every time it does one, it's going to learn. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting thing. Yeah, we had inspections down here. I can remember riding with my dad when I was a kid to the inspection stations. We got rid of those in, I believe, right around 1980. And it's funny because I can still drive down there off of Central, and I can still see the two buildings that we used to have to drive through, these long buildings. And they're now like a plumbing company or something. But it used to be the inspection station. You would enter off of Fowler and exit onto Central Street, Central Avenue, and they would put the sticker on your window so that you were inspected. They would check your brakes and your headlights and all kinds of your tire tread. What an intrusive, unconstitutional pile of shit that was. Thank God Florida got rid of that inspection system. We have no type of inspection at all. And you know what? We don't have a problem. That's what gets me. They said, well, if you don't have vehicle inspection, you're going to have every jalopy in the world just traveling down. It don't work that way. Most cars, when they get really old and they don't run well, people are done with them. They move on to something else. We don't have a plethora of smoking 35-year-old cars going down the road. It never became the pandemic that they thought it would. Just one more overreach of government that was never necessary. Vehicle inspections. Yeah, so in other words, in Arkansas, they privatized it. And that way people can make money off of the government's mandates. That's even worse. Yeah, I don't blame the people in the private sector for doing them. In fact, if I owned a service station in that state, I would do them. It makes perfect sense. But I don't like the government doing that. I have no problem with annual inspections of over-the-road trucks and vehicles over 60,000 pounds or whatever. I mean, I understand that. I can live with that. Although I will say that even our truckers are overweight, overregulated, over-moderated every way, in every fashion. And we could do away with 2/3 of that, and the roads wouldn't be any less safe. Yep. My great-grandfather, Papa Sloan, he owned a gas station down on Fort Myers Beach for a while. Back in, I don't know, the 20s, the 30s? Yeah, police checkpoints are unconstitutional. They are completely unconstitutional. Now, they get away with it, but so many times people are winning the court cases now because these things are, in fact, unconstitutional. And number two, they're just plain wrong. I don't care how many mad mothers you have out there. It's wrong to stop every car just because it's traveling down the road. That is unconstitutional, and I am totally against them. Down here in Florida, they used to have DUI checkpoints every weekend down here. I haven't heard of one down here in several years. I don't even think they're doing them anymore down here. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. Just another ridiculousness. Yeah, DUI checkpoints, driver's license checkpoints, any of that kind of stuff. Now, if they're checkpoints like agriculture checkpoints for semis, those are legal. That's different. That's commerce. I'm talking about private vehicles being made to go through DUI checkpoints, driver's license checkpoints, and also border checkpoints. I don't believe in these border checkpoints 100 miles in from the border. I don't believe in those. That's wrong. There you go. Yeah, boy, we got a bunch of U-Hauls down here. We've got them stacked out by the highway. It is. They're starting to put in down here some of the way stations between here and Georgia, North Georgia. They've got what they call way as you go, and they got these big signs. And as your truck, you get in the far right lane, and you slow down to like 60 miles an hour, and then as your truck goes over, the signs will light up and say bypass station. And you can just stay in that lane and go past. They've got 3 or 4 of those now, and they seem to work better. Yep. I drove a wrecker for a short time. Not a great job, a rough job, and just not the nicest folks. So, yeah, I'm glad I got into broadcasting. All right, the next thing I want to mention tonight, progressive prosecutors in a lot of these towns, even in Tampa, Florida, where we've got prosecutors going light on people. It's a leftist town. From Chicago to Los Angeles, fewer prosecutions and broken homes have robbed the youth of the guardrails that they need to stay safe. And what's going on right now across the country, for some time now, we've been watching the chaos roll through our streets in various forms. Authorities call it teen takeovers. Hundreds of young people rallied by the social media posts flood an area, whether it be the Loop in Chicago or a gas station in Atlanta. They jump on cars, they loot stores, they attack police. They film it all on their phones as if it were a video game and no real life consequences existed. We all know the obvious. It is a sign that something deeper in our culture is broken. That is true, but how? What strikes me is the lack of fear these youth show. I mean, they're brazen as hell. They just go out there and they go up and jump on the hood of a cop car. It's just crazy. This is the first sign to me that we've got a problem coming down the pipe. When I was a young boy living this is the person that wrote the article saying this now. When I was a young boy living in the country town of Kenton, Tennessee, I feared God. I feared my elders. This was a good fear. It was a fear that kept me on the straight path. He says, there is none of this fear in these kids nowadays. They don't fear God. They don't fear their parents or their grandparents. And what ends up happening is teen takeovers. There we go. It's an archaic, free-for-all chaos. These young people surrounded police cruisers, throw objects at officers, tackle them, terrorize bystanders, and then laugh about it online. This isn't just bad behavior. This is generation acting as if there's no God above them, no authority over them, and no justice waiting for them. That's true. How do we get to a place where teenagers can look at police officers in the face, attack them, and feel nothing? Now, I'll agree that some of the hate that police get today is earned, okay? Police have turned into raging assholes. And this is part of the problem, but this is not the excuse, okay? Police acting badly is not why these juveniles are doing this. So let's just keep those things separate. You get there when parents stop being parents, and when schools stop enforcing discipline, and when churches stop preaching about sin and judgment, and when the justice system stops delivering consequences, when they stop prosecuting for crimes. Over the last decade, we've seen a rise of a new kind of prosecutor, the so-called progressive prosecutor. They run on platforms promising to desecrate, go soft on, and so-called low-level offenses, and to reimagine prosecution in a totally different way. They tell us we live in a systematically racist nation and that we must reduce racial disparities in our prisons. They act as if we lock up people only because of their race. They literally go lighter on the black folks because they want to put less black folks in jail. That's literally the mentality that they're using. White guilt. Progressives elect these people into office that have white guilt. The consequences have been damning. From Chicago to St. Louis and outward to New York and Los Angeles, there have been fewer prosecutions, fewer charges, and fewer juveniles being held to account, even for serious crimes like murder and rape. These prosecutors have simply refused to uphold the law and have gone to great lengths to undermine the police. Young people, they're not stupid. They're watching. They see viral videos of mobs overrunning downtowns. They hear that there's no serious charges will be filed. They know this. They see repeat juvenile offenders picked up for robberies, carjackings, violent attacks. And then they're released right back onto the street again. So what's going to happen? What message does that send? It says you can't do this and still sleep in your own bed at night and be safe. Idiots. This laxness, along with the lack of structured discipline in the home and the lack of belief in God, is how you kill fear in a teen. It's how you take a healthy fear of consequence and replace it with a cocky confidence that nothing really will ever happen to me. At the same time, we've created what feels like a two-tiered justice system. The ordinary citizen who defends his business may face the full weight of the law, while the mob of teenagers that turns the city block into a war zone is described as just kids blowing off some steam. The shop owner is treated like the villain. The mob is treated like the social project. Some kind of sociology deal. People may not use legal language, but they feel that imbalance in their bones. As a pastor, this is another interview they did here. As a pastor, I cannot talk about this without talking about the soul. Law alone cannot fix what is broken here. This is a man of God talking. But when I see young black teens laughing as they jump on cars, beat strangers, and taunt officers, I see hearts that have not been taught to fear anything higher than themselves. No fear of God, no fear of dishonoring their families, no fear of a judge, and no fear of the rest of their life being wasted. We've taken away the guardrails and then acted shocked when the car goes off the cliff. We've preached entitlement instead of responsibility. therapy instead of repentance, and root causes instead of consequences. So what needs to change? How do we change something like this? First, we must restore the link between crime and consequence. This comes down to police. This comes down to the DA. We must prosecute these people. We must lock them up. No ticket and release for violent crimes. This means electing prosecutors who believe their job is to enforce the law, not erase it from behind a desk. We got to end policies that treat violent mob activities as a minor disturbance, just to be overlooked. Second, we must stand behind the police who act lawfully to restore order. No officer should have to wonder if stopping an out-of-control crowd will cost him his career the next day. When we undermine officers for doing their jobs, we weaken that thin line. And although like I said, I'm having few issues with the cops right now too, but all this stands. They don't deserve to ever be treated like this. Third, adults, parents, pastors, teachers, coaches must recover the courage to say, this is wrong, and I mean it. Teen takeovers are not protests. They're not a phase that these kids are going through. They're an example of a moral breakdown in our society. We need to say it plainly in our homes, on our pulpits, and in our politics, that it stops here and it goes no further. When parents refuse to intervene, they too should face legal consequences. So many people grew up with the fear of God, the love of Jesus in their heart, the fear of God in their soul, and the want to do the right thing. They don't have any of that anymore. If we want our streets back, we want our children back, we have to rebuild the culture. Where there are lines you do not cross, laws that you do not ignore. There's not crimes that we do not prosecute. I'm not talking parking tickets, I'm talking major crimes. A society without fear of consequences is a society without peace. And we are there. We have arrived. And if we don't change course, we're going to learn that the hard way, and it will be too late to reverse course. I don't know. I don't know how bad this gets. Do we turn into one of these dystopian societies like we see in the movies? Mad Max and the Thunder frickin' Dome? Where does it stop? These kids don't fear consequences. They don't fear going to jail. They don't fear their dad's right hand going across their mouth or a paddle up their ass. They don't fear anything. And that's a problem. Now, I wish they could grow up in a world where they don't have to worry about stuff like that. That's a fantasy. Oh boy. Well, there you go. That's the problem. They don't fear their parents. They don't fear their teachers or their counselors or their principal. They don't fear their Lord, even if they consider their Lord. They don't consider God or fear God. They don't fear the church. They don't fear having a shitty afterlife. They don't fear being kicked out of school. They don't fear anything. And it's this lack of fear that's brought us to this. And it's getting bad. And it's not getting a lot of news play. But it's getting bad. I'm telling you guys, these street takeovers, these block takeovers, people showing up, they all take their tags off their cars and shit so they can't be identified, wear masks. And then the cops have to go out there and try to catch some of these assholes, because if we can catch some of them, maybe we can find the rest. Yeah. Dispatch, I agree with you. I think children can be taught to challenge injustice and still be taught to fear and be respectful. I think I was taught by my parents to always, to be fearful. To have a good afterlife, you need to be fearful. You need to do things that are right. You need to not steal. You need to not cheat. These things like that. I don't think these kids are even told this anymore. I don't think they're told much of this stuff at all anymore. I don't think they're taught to respect people anymore. When I was a kid, I called everybody ma'am and sir. All my neighbors were Miss Verdi and Miss Miller, Miss Bauman. I didn't call my neighbors by their first names. I was a kid. It was so different back then. We respected everybody. I hear kids calling their teachers by the first name now, and it crawls me up a wall. Not because I'm stuck on pomp and circumstance, but because that shit's important. It's important to set that boundary. They're your elder. You call them ma'am, or uncle, or aunt, or mom, or dad, or ma'am, or sir. Not teach or hey lady. Yeah, the crowds are getting bigger. You're absolutely right, Moorhead. The crowds are getting bigger. And it kind of started with the riots and the George Floyd protest. I think we can agree there that it was emboldened with that event, because we did see a lot of anarchist activity as well in that event. And this is a cross between kids having a good time and anarchists. It's basically somewhere in the void in between. Kids don't even know what 69 is. You know what's weird? This newer generation, they're drinking less and they're having less sex. I think they're forgetting how to have fun, if you want to know the truth. Yep. I think that it's important that we continue to hold those standards that we had when we were young and expect those today. Yeah, Rodney King is one of the earlier ones, probably one of the biggest ones as well, since the civil rights riots anyway. And that was a terrible riot. I was working at the fire department back when that happened, I believe. That was terrible what happened after that. People were badly hurt, and I believe even one or two killed. It was very bad. Yeah, I know, that's the thing. The Floyd riots were kind of like Rodney King with cell phones, but the riots never got as big as Rodney King. The Rodney King riots were huge. Very big. For you younger folks in here, not that familiar with the Rodney King riots, go look it up after the show. Watch a 20-minute documentary on it. He was a black man traveling down the road, got pulled over, didn't comply fast enough. You know how it is. And so they took to beating his ass, and they wailed on him with those PR-24 nightsticks, back and forth, wailing on this guy, wailing on him and wailing on him. And this was before the days of cameras, but someone happened to have a full-size VHS camcorder in their vehicle, and they grabbed it, and they caught on camera these cops all just taking turns, two at a time, back and forth, just wailing on this poor guy. All right? Whether he was wrong, right, should have been arrested, he never should have been beat like that, I can tell you that. And the cops got off, as always. Pretty much always, not always, but nearly always, the cops got off. And it created a riot, and it was bad. If you guys remember George Floyd, this was worse. Yeah, I mean, it's important to note, look, if someone's doing drugs or someone passed a counterfeit bill, they don't deserve to die, okay? There's wrong on both sides of everything, all right? I don't want to get into all that, what I think is right and wrong and this and that. These officers are judged by a jury of their peers, and the sentence is what it is. The Rodney King was very, very flagrant. The George Floyd thing was a little more subtle. But in both cases, it involved someone acting poorly and then getting their ass beat for it, and to the point where they were dead. Well, see, I don't agree that there's any such thing as a rightful riot. It can be a rightful protest, but those were not protests, they were riots. When Target stores are burning down, vehicles are burning, cop cars and precincts, they burned a precinct, remember? During Floyd, they burned down a police precinct and a bunch of cop cars. And they burned up all their computers and all their stuff in their office and everything in there. When the cops are wrong, I'm the first to call it, but there's no such thing as a justified riot. That's not how we handle things in this country. I don't care how bad it gets. We can go protest, but I don't think rioting is ever justified. It just isn't. This is a civilized country. That's my feelings, that's all. You can say that I understand the riot, I understand their feelings, but to say it's justified, I can't. I can't go that far. Like I said, rioting's not the answer. I think the best thing that could have been done was to go through the legal process. But as we know, the legal process failed us on that particular one. So who are we mad at? Are we mad at the cops that were beating on him? Yes. Are we mad at the justice system that didn't put those cops in prison? Yes. Are we mad at all the black folks that went and burned down all of the businesses that belonged to all of the business owners, both black and Asian and Hispanic and white, that all had businesses in that area? What about that poor trucker they drugged out of his truck and beat him to death? So, I mean, no, a riot is never justified. Not in this country. Not in this country. It can't be. It has nothing to do with what color I am. It has nothing to do with any of that. I am never for riots. I don't care what people are rioting about. I'm just not for it. This is not a third world country. This is not a banana republic. Okay, we're not overthrowing our government here. And so there, as long as our government's there and they're functioning, there's a way to deal with this stuff. And it's not by burning down people's businesses and hurting and killing people. I completely agree with you when it comes to, you know, cops have been, they've been just absolute dicks lately. I don't know what the egos are through the roof right now. I don't know. I think there's just more cameras capturing it, but there's a lot of dick stuff going on by the cops right now. And I still believe racial profiling goes on in vehicles. I see it. You know, if you're a black person in this town, you're twice as likely to get pulled over than if you're a white person. I hate to say it, but it's true. I think most forms of racial bias have disappeared from our society, but there's still some out there. Well, you can continue to say that I don't believe it or I don't understand it because I'm not living it. When I say I understand what you're saying, that just means I understand what you're saying. I see where you're coming from. I try to understand the situation from your point of view, but that's the best I can do. I'm not saying I understand the dynamics of it as well as you do. I'm just saying that I understand what it is. I believe that we're doing pretty good in this country right now. I believe that cops pulling black people over, though, in the middle of the night, more times than white people, is still a problem. But for the most part, I mean, the Ku Klux Klan, run by the Democrats, you don't hear much about them anymore. They're pretty much gone, you know. I think we're doing pretty good on racism right now. The right's come around, the left has come around. I don't know. I think that I think things are doing better right now. But I still call it when I see it, and I do still see it. But I also think discrimination has gone the other way when it comes to hiring. It's nearly impossible for a white male to get a fire department job anywhere in Florida because of affirmative action hiring. They hire every single black person that walks in the door. But yet, I got friends that have taken the test year after year, and they never get hired. And they score way higher than the black folks they're hiring a lot of times. But it doesn't matter. They hire by race. They hire any women that walks in the door, too. It don't matter if you can pull the dummy or not. They'll get you through the test. You got a vagina. That's all that counts. So, I mean, I think we still have racism, and I think we still have counter-racism. But I think it's under control. I think we're getting there slowly. I think we're getting to an equilibrium. And part of that's education, part of that's experience, and part of that's generational. Part of it's just generational. Each generation is less racist. It's just that simple. So I think we've come a long way. I completely agree with you. Obama did more to set colored folks, black folks, whatever you want to call them, back. I'm sorry, I never know what to say anymore. What's offensive, what isn't. People of color. I think that Barack Obama hurt people of color more than he helped them. I really do. That's my opinion. Take it for what it is. Okay. Yeah, let me tell you what. The white liberal women with blue hair have not done any good for people of color. I can tell you that right now. All they do is enable. All they do is make you seem like... they literally tell us that... The liberals tell us all the time, black folks just... They're not going to be able to get an ID. That's just way too difficult. There's no way. Because when I asked them, what's wrong with making somebody ID to vote? And they say, well, because black people have a harder time getting ID. What? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. They're just as smart as I am. They have all the same resources I do. Don't tell me that bullshit, because I don't believe it. Not for a minute. And people of color should be absolutely offended by these Democrats saying, well, because you can't expect black folks to be able to get an ID. That's why we can't have voter ID, because we want the black folks we want them to vote. We want them to vote, but you can't expect them to go get an ID, for God's sake. I would be offended by that if I was a black person. I would be absolutely offended by that. I would. Yeah. Biggest thing facing us as a society right now, like we've talked about, one of the facets of the biggest thing that's threatening us right now is the single-family household, single-parent households. That's right up there with everything else that we've been talking about tonight and everything else. It's all races. Well, that's cool, Victor. I met a guy that was that he was a person of color, but he was an albino. I met one time, a long time ago. He's a really nice guy. It is sad what's happened in this country. It is. But we're still here, we're still smart, and we're still active, and we can fix this. We've got the right man in charge. This redistricting has gone our way. Guys, this redistricting has gone our way. Right now, if things were to fall right now, we're +8. Republicans are +8. Okay? California picked up 5, I think. Another one out there picked up 1. But Florida picked up 4. Texas, I mean, when you start looking at all the different states that have picked up, and then we have 5 more states that may pick up additional red seats, we could be as much as +14, +15 in a perfect world. So, if we all show up to vote, and if we do really good on election day, we could come out of this thing solid. We could be +10, +12 going into it, meaning we're picking up 12 seats that we didn't have before, which means they're losing 12 seats that they didn't have before, which means even if they pick up 8 or 9 or 10 seats, we're still going to be in better shape than we were. So this is really, really good news. The courts have all been leaning our way. Even courts that are left-leaning have been leaning our way on this stuff. And now, redistricting, we no longer are going to give favor to one race or another. Everything gets districted by what's there. And that's the way it should be. It needs to be fair. And it can't be fair if we're skewing it. That's a good question, Sean. I got to tell you something. We did something down here. It's called school choice. It's happening across the country in a lot of different states. In fact, New York is getting ready to start a program just like ours. Yeah, ain't that very red of them. Anyway, they are going to start something like this because it's working. What we're doing down here is the money follows the student. The money follows the student. What's great about this is your student gets, $8,800 or whatever. And if you want to apply that to a Christian school, you can. If you want to apply it to a Jewish school, you can. If you want to apply it to a non-secular, you can. If you want to apply it to you can still go to public school. The money will go to the public school. But see, before, the public schools used to collect the money for all the kids, whether they went to public school or not. We no longer do that anymore. They only get paid for the asses that are actually in seats. Which means all of our public schools, for the first time in 20, 40 years, our public schools are all in decline. We have room in the classrooms again. We don't need all these damn portables next year. And we have enough school space for everybody now. And the private schools are coming up. And a lot of people's children are now going to private schools. And the government's paying for it. It's a wonderful system. So in other words, the $8,800 that would normally go to the public school with your child's name on it is now held, and you tell them where to send that money. They'll send it to your Christian school, they'll send it to your Jewish school, they'll send it to your non-secular school, they'll send it to your high-tech academy high school that you want to send them to, or they'll send them to a school that does a big athletics program, a big private school with a big athletics program. You may want to send another one of your children to this school that does all computers and everything else, a private school that's all into programming and editing and stuff like that. You now have just about anything you want to do at your disposal now, and that money that comes from our tax money to teach your child is now money that you control. Ain't that freaking awesome? I love it. Public education is a joke. It's an indoctrination. It absolutely is. It's an absolute indoctrination, and it happens every time. And these kids get in these schools, and they're taught everything that you don't want them to learn. Every day there's another lesson on
of MMIW G2SLGBTQQIA+.
Because that's a lot of letters. That's a good month right there just to get through the letters. And that's what you're paying for, or that's what that money goes to the public school. And they just built another high school down here. It has not only gone over budget, it's now double budget. It's double budget, and it's a year late. But that's fine, because hopefully this will be the last school these bastards ever have to build. Hopefully this will be the last time they spend $200 million on a high school or some stupid shit. Because now they're dwindling. The population in public school has dropped every year now for 3 years. And next year it's going to drop even more dramatically. And there's more public schools or more private schools coming online, more charter schools coming online, more high-tech schools coming online, more sports-centered schools coming online. This is amazing. This is the best thing that's ever happened to parents. And you may not even realize it yet, but this is the best thing that's ever happened to you. Check right now, because 33 of our states have some kind of program where the money can follow your child. So check that out at a school district near you, rated R. All right. Yep, 5 miles in the snow, uphill both ways. We used to say that shit. Oh, it's funny. Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I'm going to be checking for last-minute posts. I've been on for 2 hours and 35 minutes. I've already gone 35 minutes over tonight. I don't know why. I just got talking and didn't pay attention. You know, it's funny, too, because on the way home, I had a weird feeling. I'm feeling kind of good tonight. I had a weird feeling I was going to go long tonight. I actually thought to myself, I bet I go long tonight. Okay, that's another thing, Sean, and I failed to mention that. If you're going to homeschool your child, you go through the little qualification that they have. It's not that big a deal, okay? And because almost anybody can homeschool their child if you have any kind of basic education at all. They'll give you that money. Yeah, they don't just hand you cash. You have to use it for stuff. They'll give you some of it in cash, but you have to have like an account to put it in. It's specific, but if you follow their rules, you can get that money. And some of it can be for paying, like if you want your son to go once a week to a group thing. We've even got a Turning Point USA chapter here in Lee County for the homeschool kids. I think that's the most amazing thing. They get together once every 2 weeks and they have a Turning Point USA meeting where they sit around for 2 hours and talk conservative politics. That's Charlie Kirk's legacy right there. It's amazing. But even our homeschool kids, all of our high schools have Turning Point chapters now in this area. All of them. Many of them didn't have them, but they all have them now. I even heard there's middle school chapters. There's private school chapters. It's crazy. Everybody's got a chapter. And so yeah, homeschool, you get that money. Private school, secular, non-secular, any whatever it is, you get the money. As long as it qualifies as a legal school, or you're homeschooling your child. If you're homeschooling someone else's child, you can still do it. It gets a little more complicated, but this can all be done. Yeah. Yep. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you, Heath. Hit that like and subscribe. I really, really appreciate that, guys. And hit the hype thing too. God, I got to figure that out. I got to go see a video on how to do it. Why were you saying you were afraid of Erica Kirk's? I have been concerned about her, obviously, because she's now the face of Turning Point USA. She's now doing the podcast. She's making public appearances. Now, she's not near as public as Charlie was. She's not doing the talks out on campuses and stuff. But she's still very public. And I'm worried about her. I'm worried about all of our big Republicans right now. I mean, they're taking shots at Trump. We've had 3 near misses. 1 missed by that much. And then plus what's happened to Charlie Kirk and all these other attempts that have been foiled and things that have showed up places and things that were hung on trees near airports and everything else that's going on. Let me tell you something. I worry about her, and I worry about Trump, and I worry about 20 other people that could end up in the crosshairs of an assassin. And that's probably all I meant when I said that. Was that I'm concerned for her life. I am, because she's a prime target right now. She has to be very careful because these crazy nuts are out there, and you remember a lot of times they do whatever they think will get the biggest splash. Okay, I haven't heard about Nick Shirley yet this week. I'll go look that up. I worry about Nick Shirley. I like that kid. I worry about him. He has done more for this country. Most of us would be proud to have done this much for this country. He's done an amazing thing for this country, and he's still out doing it. And I'm worried about him. He's going to get hurt. Man, oh man. I think he's making enough that he's got a security person now. Yeah, I mean, any of these people, yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't get into a lot of the drama stuff, but with these groups and stuff. But I'll look into that. All right, guys. Yeah, it's been a long night. I'm tired. Over 5.5 hours of live broadcasting today, and I'm done. All right, guys. It's been fun. It's been real. It's kind of been real fun, too. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll do this again. Let me see where I'm at here. There we go. All right, guys. I'm going to let you go. 7-3s. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. We'll be back again right here on the Sights and Sounds of Earth, and we'll cover whatever's going on tomorrow night. And you guys have a great one out there. 7-3s. We'll see you guys another day. Well, let's make it tomorrow.
Yeah, they're screaming again. We ain't listening. They said the sky was falling when he walked through the door and called him every name in the book and still wanted home. While they're out there hugging terrorists and opening up the gate, he's building that wall. They're making America great. They cry about democracy dying every single night, but the only thing dying is their grip on power and their appetite for a fight. Keep the faith, America, he's keeping us safe, while the left keeps cheering for the bad guys night and day. They hate the flag, they hate the fight, they hate the red, white and blue, but Trump's in the White House saying not on my watch, not on my crew. So keep the faith, America, stand tall and stand true. He's fighting for you, and I'm fighting right there with you too. They want open borders, they want crime in the street, they want your money, your guns, and your God under their feet. They'll fund every protest, every riot, every clown, while American families watch their cities burning down. They scream to fund the police, then call 911. Hypocrites in designer clothes, having way too much fun. Keep the faith, America, he's keeping us safe, while the left keeps cheering for the bad guys night and day. They hate the flag, they hate the fight, they hate the red, white and blue, but Trump's in the White House saying not on my watch, not on my crew. So keep the faith, America, stand tall and stand true. He's fighting for you, and I'm fighting right there with you too. They call him a dictator while they censor what you say. They scream about fascism, but they're the ones taking rights away. They love every tyrant from Tehran to Beijing, long as that tyrant hates America and everything we believe. They'll tax you to death and spend it all on their schemes, while red states are thriving and living the American dream. Yeah, they can call us deplorable, call us every name in the book, but we're the ones paying the taxes and carrying the flag while they look. So go ahead and riot, go ahead and scream. We're over here keeping the faith and living the dream. Keep the faith, America, he's keeping us safe, while the left keeps cheering for the bad guys night and day. They hate the flag, they hate the fight, they hate the red, white and blue, but Trump's back in the saddle doing what real leaders do. So keep the faith, America, stand tall and stand true. He's fighting for me, and he's fighting for you. Yeah, keep the faith, America, we're still here, and we ain't going nowhere.
Trump and all, welcome back to reality. Mothers, I know you want to save your daughters. I know you want to bring them home. And now, a medication that will help you do just that. Trumpanol, an amazing medication that helps treat liberalism at its source. It chemically and medically treats those things that make your daughter so crazy and strange. Try to get her to take some Trumpanol today. It'll make all the difference in the world. Get your daughter back today.
Trumpanol, welcome back to reality.
This is the YouTube channel Starship Adventures, broadcasting live from Starship Studios in North Fort Myers, Florida, in the United States of America. We thank you for joining us this evening for another broadcast of the Sights and Sounds of Earth, covering every breaking news story across this troubled planet of ours. We brought you the raw, unfiltered pulse of the world in real time through our unique multi-screen format, broadcasting in high definition worldwide via fiber optic connection. Starship Adventures, a new kind of YouTube content. To our regular viewers, our loyal crew members, our amazing moderators, and everyone who tunes in each night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we thank you. Your support keeps this independent voice alive and well. We'll be back tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Eastern with another live edition of the Sights and Sounds of Earth, right here on Starship Adventures. Until then, stay safe, stay informed, and may God bless you and these United States of America. This is Starship Adventures, and this concludes our broadcast day. Good night, America, and around the world. Kilo Oscar 4, Echo Foxtrot Sierra. Signing off. QSY 7-3s, everyone. 7-3s.